How many artists are in the room? Raise your hand. Yeah, that's better. Because the truth is, we're really all artists in one way or another, right? What you witnessed this morning was really a design. I thought about it ahead of time. I really planned it the best we could. I had several people helping me as a team. And the idea was to present several different types of art form expressions. You had dance, movement. You had a lot of different types of audio, phonic, those kinds of art forms. You had visual art forms. You had organizational art forms.
As we're teaching students, we are putting them in these categories of engineer, lawyer, doctor. We're also limiting them to think a certain way or to believe a certain way, when in actuality now what we're doing is we're focusing on the act of thinking, the act of creating a thinking being, one who can create a design and then eventually will become a doctor, eventually will become a lawyer or an artist. That's what we're doing now with STEAM.
You look at the top of that triangle. In mathematics, that's called what?
Apex.
Apex. That's right. In fine art, that's called focal point. In literary arts, as you're writing something, it's shaped kind of like that, but it's about here. That's called a climax. As you get into science, this is called a solution. Do the kids know that when they're going from class to class? I mean, this is a real basic design principle, guys. This is just basic triangulation. That's all it is. Every one of you are teaching exactly the same structure, but yet you're not actually communicating it between yourselves, nor are you communicating that to the students. This is what I find from an artist's point of view is the most complicating part for a student's life. Is they're walking out of science class and going to math class, they have no idea that they're talking about the same element. And then they walk into fine art and they can breathe a little better there because they can express themselves and go, ah! They can't do that in math class. They need to do that in math class.
Do you like Shakespeare? Where did you come from, 2013? My grandmother used to always talk about how in school they had acting classes, art classes, and chorus classes. She would tell me, Anila, child, this city used to be full of life. If only they had some of the arts they had back then, like dancing, hip-hop, and sculpting, maybe your generation wouldn't lack so many morals, independence, and expression. You would think someone would have taken a stand to get our creativity back.
If a person is only receiving education on a linear sort of process, they are tending to shut down their creative side. And so that's not a full rounded thinker like what you're talking about. So somehow or another we need to inject that creative element so that they will have more opportunity to think in different ways, whether it be spatially, universally, creatively, and they'll have a whole lot more opportunity to see the world in different ways.
We teach our kids sometimes that failure is the worst thing that can happen. Let me tell you, these same guys showed me some information. They gave a creative genius test to people of all ages across the country. 98% of all 3-year-olds and below passed. 98% of all 25-year-olds and above failed. Which suggests something. It suggests that over time, we are feeding the creativity out of each other. You can't do that. Color in the lines. You can't play that note that way.
A lot of it too is a matter of letting them know that it's okay to be creative, that it's allowed. And I think over a long period of time through educational reasoning, through manufacturing, the way people work, they go to work, they're told not to be creative and that it doesn't have value.
Which is counterintuitive to what we want out of thinkers, right?
So as we're trying to build that whole thinker, it becomes complete opposite as to what we're really trying to achieve.
Find something new, find something innovative, be creative in the Lone Afraid collection space. You see, there is no time, no place, but every time and place you reach the space to try to reach a young mind and take them to a space far beyond.
Somebody once told me something, it was so simple, it was like wisdom can be found in the simplest of places.
Yeah.
They said that our education model is built to impart knowledge, but not wisdom. And the distinction they made, they said, is knowledge is knowing that tomato is a fruit, not a vegetable. Wisdom is knowing that you don't put it in fruit salad. Simple as that. But we teach the knowledge part without the wisdom and the application in real life and the innovative way to think about life. So I just like that as a simple synopsis about how education needs to go beyond just the knowledge, but the wisdom, and the artistic and creative process helps create that.
When we really get down to it, when you really think about this whole concept of STEAM and STEM, we have everything we need in our schools. We always have. Every single year that we produce students, we're always successful at making people who can think. So the concept of building innovative thinkers is already there. The question is, what do we want out of those students we graduate? Now, do we want people who can just function as templates, or do we want people who can become innovators, build industry? It all depends on how we teach students or how we introduce them to themselves. That's the key.